Hello everyone, welcome back again. Hope you are doing great. Again today I come with another Cisco ACI tutorials. Today we're gonna learn Cisco ACI access policies. This video might take a little long, but I can assure you if you watch this entire video, your concept related to ACI access policies going to be very transparent and crystal clear. And I try to make the complex thing in easier way. So without wasting more time, let's get started. This is Cisco ACI closed architecture or lip spine architecture, you can say, where I mentioned 3 APIC, which is nothing but a controller through which you do manage the Cisco ACI infrastructure. Right now, in ACI infrastructure, we are very much familiar with this architecture. Now, I would like to show you something different. Like here, I have draw two separations, right? So first part or very first part is the logical part over here. So in logical part, your underlay and overlay exist, and top of that we do create a tenant, EPG, BD, contract, and the other part also. In previous video, it might show you in the I button in top of a right corner, through which you can check this logical part where I explain how to create and what is tenant, EPG, BD, and contact, and how to create about that part also, right? So this portion was already done, right? So it is requested, if you have not watched yet, please watch that part also and come again over here. Now our today's focus in on this part. So what is this part? This part is purely physical part, where our physical devices get connected, where actual wire connection happen, right? So this is access part, right? Or access portions, you can say. So our focus is on that part only. So before going to more, I would like to show you over here how the packet gets flow, because see, in this logical top of this logical part, right, they don't understand VLAN, right? VLAN doesn't work. They don't understand likewise. So what they understand, how it's happened. So if you consider this is server 1 and this is server 2, and both are in VLAN 10 or any VLAN it could be, but it has to be in same EPG. So this VLAN is connected. This server is connected with the VLAN 10, right? And this server and this connections understand the VLAN tagging, right? So whenever the server sends a packet towards thing is that this server wants to communicate with this server, right? So server wants to communicate with server 2 and server 2 wants to reply to server 1. So whenever the server 1 sends a packet, in that packet one portion would be as the tagging, right? VLAN tagging, right? And the same packet going to be sent to over here to the leap, right? But thing is that in this line or in this positions or in this leap switch, right, all the VXLAN encapsulation and decapsulations happen, right? So how encapsulation and decapsulation happen over here, that I'm going to show you. So the packet, once the server wants try to send, it is the packet going with the VLAN tagging. So once this packets reach to this leap switch, and here I have show you that is one VTEP, each leap switch having one VTEP. What VTEP? Tunnel endpoint, right? Which I explained in my what is VXLAN series, which might show you in top right corner in our I button. Please watch that one also, so that you can get clear about the VXLAN on how it is work, right? So as I show you over there, there is server 1. Let me draw it again, please bear with me. This is server 2. Both wants to communicate each other. They understand the VLAN tagging. This is their packets or frame. One portion would be VLAN tagging, where the VLAN 10, this is VLAN 10, this is also could be a VLAN 10 member, and they are connected to each leaf switch, and this server 1 wants to communicate with this server 2, right? So once this packet sends to the leaf switch, and here is the VTAP, what VTAP will do, VTAP will convert or encapsulate or decapsulate the VLAN to VXLAN, right? So here is the VLAN tagging would be there. Now in this leaf switch, the encapsulation and decapsulation happen, and one more tagging come with encapsulated with the VXLAN, right? And that packet will basically, this VTAP encapsulate this leaf switch encapsulate this VLAN tagging with VXLAN tagging, and it sends over the tunnel. So what is the tunnel? Like tunnel in ACI, in every VXLAN infrastructure, there is one tunnel get a sublist through which this packet gets transferred to over here to this leaf switch, to this VTAP, right? So once this server received, once this leaf switch receives this VXLAN tagged packet, again the decapsulation happen over there. So what it will do, it will again decapsulate the VXLAN tagging to a VLAN tagging, right? And that packet going to received by the server 2 as VLAN, so that this server can understand this packet. So this is how basically communication happen in ACI infrastructure, right? That's what I try to show you, the VXLAN tunnel and the VTAP. So hope it is informative for you. Now main question is that, or main concern is that this layer, right? Excuse me. So in this layer, first questions comes to our mind, or it might ask by us, that is what do you want to connect, right? So this golden questions you might ask yourself that what we are going to connect. This is the first question in our golden question series. Now once this questions comes to our mind, what we will do, we already know what kind of device is going to be connect in data center network infrastructure, right? Can you please tell me one of the resources or devices you want to connect? Can you please tell me? Yeah, you were right, very much right, that the server. So server, in a sense, it's a bare metal servers, which is mostly or 99% used in the data center. Without it, it's very impossible to make a fulfill data center. So bare metal, once we connect any bare metal server physically, right? Physically we connect any bare metal server, that we'll call over here as a physical domain. So whenever we connect any physical servers or bare metal servers, that will treat or will configure as a domain. Likewise, what other devices can be connected? Virtual devices, right? So virtual server can be connected. So virtual server, whenever any virtual server gets connected to your leaf switches, that will be a VMM domain. So we'll call or we'll create a VMM domain for the virtual servers, or we'll create a physical domain for our any bare metal servers. Now what another kind of devices could be connect? L2 switch. Why L2 switch? Because this sections don't understand the VLAN, right? But if you have any legacy or old data center or old network, right, which works in VLAN environment, right, but that wants to communicate with your new ACI infrastructure, in that case your extension is needed. In that case the L2 communication is required, right? So if we connect any L2 bridge or L2 switch in our ACI infrastructure, we will configure external bridge domains, right? So whenever we connect any bridge or switch, L2 switch type of devices, we will configure one bridge domain where we connect the L2 switch. Now similar way, if if you connect any L3 devices, what about that? So whenever we connect any L3 devices, we'll create, or we'll call it as a L3 domains, or we have to create a L3 domains. Now, why L3 domains or L3 switch need to be connected? Because it is required in your data center from outside world, it's need to communicate, right? In that case, one router is needed for L3 out to communicate with the outside world or rest of world, right? In that case, the L3 devices is needed. Or if you want to communicate with other data center, your own data center, in that case, which is physically located in different locations, in that case also the L3 out is required, right? So whenever we create any L3 devices like router, we'll create or configure L3 domains where we connect the L3 devices. Now another type of devices we can think, that is the as it is data center with a SAN switch, right? For the storage area network. So if I connect any SAN switches for our storage area network, in that case we'll treat as a fiber channel domains, right? So whenever we need to connect any SAN network, any SAN switches or any SAN devices, in that case we'll create fiber channels domains, right? So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 type of domains we have to create as of now. If we connect physical devices, then we'll create physical domains like bare metal. If we connect virtual devices, then we create virtual VMM domain, or virtual domain rather. Or if we connect any L2 switches, then we'll create a bridge domain, external bridge domain. For router, we'll create L3 domains where we connect the L3 devices. And for the SAN network or storage area network, we'll any fiber channel or devices, switches, in that case we will create a fiber channel domains. So it's a purely logical domains we'll create so that we can understand who is connected, right? Which type of devices or which category of devices connected in the ACI infrastructure. Now as I said, this type of domain we have to create it based on our category of devices. So what we do, we have configure, right? We have configure 5 separate domains for the 5 separate devices or 5 separate connections. For the bare metal, we have created VMM domains, we have created external bridge domain, created L3 domain, and fiber channel we have created. Now thing is that main questions come here, that that is fine, that we have created the domains. Now second golden question comes to us: do you need VLANs? Do you need vSANs for our connections? The answer is yes. Yes, my dear, I need this. Without VLAN, how do I communicate? All right. So in that case, we have to create a VLAN or vSAN pools, right? Pool is nothing but a range. It could be a single VLAN also. We'll call it as a pool over here. So what we have to do, we have to create VLAN pools for our connections, or vSANs pools, you can say. Then what we have to do, we have to associate those VLAN pool to domains, all right? Whatever VLAN we create. So what we understand, for the physical devices, we have to create domains, and for the physical connections, we require minimum 1 VLANs for 1 access ports, or many for the trunk. Like if I am connecting 1 physical devices which is require 1 VLAN, so at least minimum 1 VLAN we have to create, and my device is expecting for the many VLANs, many network. In that case, it's require the trunk or VLAN pools, right, for the physical connections. For the virtual connections, always it will be as a pools, because mostly or 99% we use as a trunk for to connect the physical devices, sorry, virtual devices, because the virtual devices treat by their own, because in virtual devices they have their own VDS, they have their own virtual switches. So that's what they can segregate, they can assign by their own. That's what we always treat as a trunk or a pool, right? So fiber channel, at least 1 VLAN is created. Yes, we can create a trunk for them also, right? Hope it is clear. Now thing is that we understand the VLAN, we understand the physical domain. So as per the device category, we will create one physical domain. We will create a pool on that, or VLAN pools, right? If I require single VLAN, then we will create a single VLAN. If I require pools of VLANs or multiple VLANs in, or like a trunk, in that case we will use a range, right? Like 20 to 30, 40 to 50, likewise. Now everything is setted, right? Domain, VLAN pool. Now one questions come to our mind, that is, you want to attach or apply this group of interest, this group to an interface. In that case, our answer will be yes, man. We have to attach, right? We have to, otherwise how do I do that? Because in ACI infrastructure, ACI doesn't allow to connect directly your domains and your VLAN over there. It's not allow you directly. So you require something, right? You need something which will help you to attach. So we are looking for something like you can say zipper, which will help us to tie together or attach together, right? Or we are looking something like a glue, which will help us to attach this physical domain or pools together to the interfaces, right? So the similar solution is here, that is, we will create a attachable access entity profile, which is called as AAEP, or sometimes we call as a AEP. This profile will help us to attach these domains, including the VLANs, to a switch interfaces. Right? Why I said the glue? Because it's act as a glue, which will help us to attach these domains to the interfaces. Right? Or you can call as a zipper. Anybody can call anything for your understanding. Now, thing is that we understand VLAN pools which going to be attached to one AAP, and now AAP going to be attached to a switch interface, right? But thing is that we can create multiple AAP for multiple purpose, right? And this domain I can attach to this, not this. I can attach. So we might create, or we might require multiple AAP for creation or for attaching this domain to the switch interfaces, right? This is how you can understand. Now, second questions, or fourth questions, you can say, which interface do you want to configure and how? This is very important, right? So we understand the domain, right? And this domain consists with VLAN pools altogether. We understand the AAP, right? The attachable access profile. So this profile will help us to attach this domain to your interfaces, right? So this is this thing only we have to do. This domain attached to the AAP, and AAP will be applied or attached to the interface. So this simple thing we have to understand, and I am going to explain this entire thing with the architecture, with the flow, so that you can understand better way, right? So let's go to the architecture to understand how to attach these domains with AAP to an interface and how, right? Let's see. So here I called it as a access policy architecture, but thing is that you know where you will get this kind of terminology, because it's my own. I try for your better understanding, I try to explain likewise, and you never find this kind of architecture anywhere. Hope it is very informative for you. So as of now, we know this part, right? Domain, and under the domain we create VLAN pools or vSAN pool, whatever we require, and that we attach to the AAEP. AAEP is nothing but a glue, right? Which will help us to attach an interface. Now question was to us, that is, which interface and how. Now let's understand with that part. So which interface? First, to identify the which interface, we have to create the interface policies, right? So you can see like we configure in the interface, we create over here as the interface policies, right? Like link level, which is we configure as a speed, like spanning tree, bpdu guard we do enable in the access interfaces over here, that we configure here. We'll configure as a policies, interface policies, like cdp off or on, lldp off or on, port security. This kind of policy will configure, which will legacies which we do configure by CLI. So here we'll configure as a policies over here, right? So once based on our requirement, I try to explain. I have given this example of the 4 policies over here. You can create multiple policies, right? Lots of policies for your requirement. Now, once the policy is created, we'll tie it together or bind together in a group that is called an interface policy group, right? So we'll configure a policy group where we bind all the interface policy, individual interface policies, right? Like CDP, like speed, like STP, like port security, other part, and we tie together in an interface policy group. Great. So, all right. So as of now we understand. Now thing is that when this domain and AAP will be get connected. Now this is the time whenever we create the interface policy group, automatically it will ask you where is your AAP. In that time you will map or glue or attach or zip to your domains, right? So this is the time you will get the options through which you can attach your domains through AAP, right? Hope you got this point, right? Now we create policies, we tie together or merge together in a group, that is we are calling over here interface policy group. So everything is ready, right? Fine. Now we'll create the next step. We'll create what? We'll create interface profile, right? So it's interface, you have to create a profile for him also, right? You have your social media profile everywhere, right? Beautiful profile, but interface also having, it's also expecting one profile, right? Because your social media itself standing on a interface. So it's just an example, jokes apart. So we'll create the gentleman interface profile, and that profile, whenever we create this profile, it will help us to merge or to call the interface policy group, as well as it will ask or help us to select the interface. So in that case, whenever we configure the interface profile, that time one thing we have to avoid, that is the interface selector. This interface selector will help you to call your interface policy group, and this interface selector will help you to call your exact interface where you want to apply this thing. Now as of now, try to understand this part, very important. As of now, what you did, you create interface policy group, interface profile, selector, tie together in an interface, and it is binded to your AAP, right? So policy group is ready, your interface profile is also ready, right? Here you can think likewise. You are the director of one movie where you have decided how your hero would be look like, how he will behave, how he will act, how he will dance, how he will fight. Everything you have decided, right? But you have not chosen the hero, which hero you are going to give this role or apply this role, right? So you have decided this role, but you have not chosen the hero to whom you want to play this role. So you have decided everything, but you have not chosen the interface. Here is the golden question again come to you. So question is, on which switch you decided, on which switch is that interface, right? Where is the interface, right? Without switch, how do you get the interface? Everything is decided. Now you have to select the switch, because you have decided the your hero's role, how he will walk, dance, but you have not chosen the hero name to whom you are going to give this role, and we have not chosen the industry, right? Film industry like Hollywood or Bollywood. So you can treat switch as a industry, movie industry. It could be Hollywood, Bollywood, and your interface you can think as your hero. You are going to apply this role to him. Likewise, for your fun, for your enjoying these sessions, for your enjoying your understanding. So what we'll do, as the questions come to us, we have to choose the switch, right? First, now let's focus to the switch. What we'll do, we'll similar way or the same way we'll configure the switch policies, the individual policies like STP, like BFD, like .1x authentication we do in a switch, right? Like PoE configuration, like spanning tree, all of the stuffs. So multiple lots of policies you can configure for your switch, and that you will tie together in a group that we'll call as a policy switch policy group. The similar, very similar to your interface profile group, interface policy group, right? So you did configurations, you tied together in a switch policy group. Then what we'll do, you will create again switch profile for your gentleman switch, right? It's a very nice profile. So you selected all the stuffs. Now during switch profile creation, what you will do, you will again appoint a leaf selector or switch selector, which will help you to call the policies as well as it will help you to select the switch. So what you, during switch profile configuration, on the option leaf selector, you will get option select the switch, which switch you are going to select. So here you have selected one switch, and that you have associate with your interface profile, and your interface selector under your interface profile automatically switch select. It's not automatically, you have to select one switch interface. Now this architecture is complete for you. You can understand with this architecture your access policies. In this slide, it's very important, a very good slide for you. The entire architecture, through this entire architecture, you can understand everything about the policies, access policies related to your devices you are going to connect. So what we did, we configure interface policy tied together in a group that is called interface policy group. Then we merge or map to a AAEP, right, which help us to attach the domains. Then we'll create an interface profile where we appoint one interface selector, which help us to call the interface policy group, right, which we have created. And it's also help us, this interface selector also help us to select the exact interface where you are going to place this policy and the profile, right? Similar way, you have created switch policies tied together or merged together in a group, switch policy group. Then we create similar way like interface policy, you create a switch profile, right? Then you appoint one leaf selector, which help you to call or select the switch, and which help you to call your policy group. And you will get another option to associations, right? Through these associations, you merge this switch profile to interface profile together, right? So for your fun, you can understand, you have selected your role for your hero, then you choose the industry, Hollywood, it could be Bollywood. From there you choose your hero to whom you assign this role. So this is how you can understand. Hope it is informative for you. You know where you will get such architecture to better understand, right? So if you have any questions on this part, please feel free to ask me in comment sections, reach me to over the mail so that I can answer your questions. So hope we are very much clear, right, about this policy. You can take a snap, you can study by your own for your better understanding. Yeah. So let's go to the next. So here we go through 5 questions, right? The first question was, what do you want to connect? Yes, it could be physical, virtual, fiber channel, and domains. And in this slide, I'm going to summarize all these questions, right, so that it also be good for you. The second questions come to you. Do you need VLANs? Yes, we need VLANs. We need what we did, we create a VLANs, then tie together domains, right, to answer the second questions. And then third question come to you. You want to attach or apply these domains to a interface, yes, we want to, and then in that case we have to create AAEP, which will act as a glue, and which will act as a zipper, you can say. Even sometime it is called as a trunk allowed VLAN. That I will show you even, and I will show you every configurations. And the fourth question come to us, that is which interface do you want to configure. In that case, what we did, we configure the interface policy, then tie together interface policy group, then we make an interface profile, then we apply it, right? The interface type, yes, interface profile type is there, several kind of interface profile type that I will explain in next slide. And fifth question and last golden question comes to us, on which switch you going to apply. Then in that case, to answer this question, we create an interface switch policies. Over here it would be a switch policy, right? Here is a little wrong, don't go through this, right? So here we'll create switch policy, then we'll tie together in a switch policy group, right? Then we tie together switch profile, not interface profile at all. Then which switch, to answer these questions, associate this interface profile from question 4, right? So we'll associate definitely with the question 4, right? So hope it is clear, right? Whenever we want to connect any devices to your ACI infrastructure, if you follow these questions, you will get each answer. You will create one by one. Even you can follow the architecture also, what I show in previous slide. Now I will show another part with this architecture, that is the legacy configuration comparison, right? And whenever I show you the lab sessions where I will explain this every architecture, and I will configure following this architecture, right? Now let's understand with this legacy configuration which section plays the role of the configuration, right? Let me show you. So here in legacy switch, right, is my host name. It's my choice. So legacy switch, so I have selected interface ETH one by one, right? So for this command, who play these roles over here in this ACI architecture? Here this guy play this role, the interface selector. This interface selector play this role, interface ETH or Ethernet one by one, right? Now second line, who has played this role for this thing? Speed, right? Speed it's play the role for the interface policy, or you can say interface policy group. Both are correct, right? So whenever we configure this interface policy, that means you are configuring by the CLI speed this much, right? And here switch port mode trunk, who is playing this role. This interface profile, definitely, right? So interface profile playing this role to make this command switch port mode trunk. I will show you in lab sessions how it configures, right? And switch port trunk allowed VLAN, right, from 10 to 20, who play this role? This guy, this AAP. Sometime you might heard in any documents that AAP as a switch port trunk allowed VLAN. Why it is? Let me explain. Because this AAP allow this VLAN, it could be 10 to 20, right? So 10, 20, this AAP is allowing like this way, right? Or you can think, sorry, let me take other color, right? So why it is called a switch port trunk allowed VLAN? Because it is definitely allowing your all VLAN pool, whatever you have created, it help you to attach as well as it help you to allow VLAN. So this guy play this role, right? Why I'm showing this legacy configuration and compare with this thing, because you might get interest, you will better understand how it is happen in ACI infrastructure. Again, CDP enable, that is also this guy, right? Off or on, sorry, it's not this guy, interface policies or interface policy group, you can say. All right, spanning tree BP got whatever interface related configuration will do, that is playing in the interface policy, right? So hope it is clear, right? I try to compare with legacy because you are very much familiar. If you are new to the you are very much familiar to the legacy network, and you are new to the ACI infrastructure, right? Hope it is clear. Excuse me. Now in this part I will show you policy group type, right? Interface policy group type. So here interface policy group type will get multiple options. As I show you interface, so it is deciding switch port mode, access trunk, another part. So here I will get access port. Whenever we create an interface policy group, in that part we will get these options, right? Let me, yeah. So first option is the leaf access port. Access port, nothing but this port where we are connecting one device, and we want to make this port as an access port. Port channel, yes, you will get port channel policy group or interface policy group where you have to create an interface PC port channel where you need to configure the port channel. And you will get interface policy group where you have to configure the VPC, right? And PC and VPC override, that is different. I will explain in later on. Don't mix up all together. I'm ignoring this part. I will explain later on. Fiber channel, yes, FC, as I show you in earlier slide, right? Fiber channel or any SAN switch you are going to connect. FC in FC port, if you want to configure the port channel within this FC interfaces, in that case you have to go to the FC interfaces. So in this slide, what we understand that policy group for different kind of interfaces, we will configure different kind of policy group. For access, we will configure similar way. It is giving the example. Let me take another. For the port channel, you have to choose this thing. For the VPC, you have to choose this thing, right? So these are the type, you can say. So let's move to the next. Here we'll explain one thing that is very important. For bare metal, if you want to connect bare metal, this is also a block diagram through which you can understand. Here is the interface selector, which will help you to select the interface, exact interfaces, where we'll create switch policy group, switch profile, and also we'll configure as a switch interface policy, and we'll merge the AAP to the switch policy, right? And that AAP will bind together with EPG. EPG will bind together the physical domain, and physical domain will consist with multiple VLAN pools, and that VLAN pools will tie together or merge together, glue together this AAP, right? And this AAP we can call as a switch port trunk allowed VLAN, right? It is helping you to this pools allow to your servers. It could be bare metal and it could be other part. I hope you understand this block diagram. Here interface selector is there, interface policy, and all the interface policy comes in the interface policy group, right? And apart from this, for the switch, we'll create switch policy group, switch profile, and here another part would be there, that is the switch selector, which will help you to select the switch, right? Hope it is for your understanding. I make this thing block diagram. And if you want to connect any virtual server, in that case what we'll do, you will create a VMM domain or virtual domain where you will configure the VLAN pools, right? And the similar way you will configure all the stuff: policy group, interface policy, switch policy group, interface selector, switch policy selector. Then we will tie it together in with a AAP, right? Hope it is informative. Now the complex scenario is that if you have if Cisco UCS server, what will do? I hope you are working with Cisco data center. In that case, you have worked also Cisco UCS server. It's a blade server where multiple blade can be connected, right, or inserted. And this is fabric interconnect, right? We call is as a F5 fabric interconnect, or in back of this switch, back of this server, we fabric extender is there, through which this fabric interconnect is get connected, right? So I just explain one part only. In complex scenario, if you having the UCS server where multiple thing is there, right? It could be bare metal, it could be VMware virtual environment, it could be a hypervisor, right? KVM, anything could be mix and match. It's a hybrid, you can say. In that environment, what will do, right? It's a complex scenario. In that case, again, the similar way we'll compare all the stuffs: interface policy, policy group, interface selector. Then what about the domain? We'll configure multiple domains like physical domain, virtual domain for Hyper-V, for virtual domain for VMware, and virtual domain for KVM, right? As I have multiple server in a single server chassis. And what I will going to show you, that is the single AAP. I can bind all these VLAN domains together in a single AAP to a interface or to a switch, right? So this is how we can map one AAP to multiple domains with VLAN pools. Hope it is informative for you, for your understanding, right? Now let me explain this part. I'm gonna show you how this one bare metal server going to connect over here, right? Now I'm going to lab sessions where I'll show you if you want to connect one server, right, in your physical sections to a ACI infrastructure, how the configuration would be step by step. And later on in next series of video, I will show you how to configure the VPC, the virtual domain, how the connect the L2 switches, or how the L3 out, all the stuffs one by one in separate video. If you're having the demand, then only I will make it a public. Right now in this video, I will show you how I'm going to connect one bare metal server as a access port, right, and how the configuration would be. So we'll follow this policy flow. Using this, we'll configure each and every policy so that it will be easier for you to understand. And we'll definitely start with this domain pool creations, because we learn like this way from here only. So what we'll do, we'll configure the VLAN pools, then domain, right? Then we'll configure the AAEP, right? So let's go to the lab sections. Yes, this is your tenant, your controller console, where you will get option the fabric. Under the fabric, 3 option is there. Under the fabric, inventory, fabric policies, access policies. You have to click on the access policies, as our subject is the access policy today. So our objective is to create the VLAN pools, so that we are clicking on the pools. Multiple option we are getting like VLAN, like vSANs, like VXLAN, but our objective is to create the VLAN pool only, right? Just right click over there, and you will get options to create the VLAN pool, right? So multiple VLAN pool is created earlier for multiple purpose. Here we are going to create new VLAN pool. I'm putting the channel name first, so that further we can call or find easily. And here we will get options, 2 options: dynamic allocation, static allocation. We will definitely choose the static allocation, because see, our server is bare metal standalone server, right? It's not virtual environment. That's what we have selected the static allocations. Now under the encapsulation block, we have to press on the plus button, where we get the options. Our plan was to configure VLAN 10, right? As our plan, we have configured, and again the static allocation and inherit option is there. So yes, we can choose the static allocation, then press on OK, then submit. Yes, VLAN pool definitely created. How do we check? Where is our name? Yes, here it is. Right. VLAN name or ID is also showing over here. So VLAN pool is created. Now second option, we have to create the domains, right? Physical domains based on the device category. So as I show you in earlier session, that is there is 5 category of domain we have to create, or we can create mostly based on the device type. If it is bare metal or any physical devices, then we'll configure definitely physical domains. If it is L3 or router connected, in that case we will configure the L3 domain. SAN, if it is SAN switch connected, right? Any fabric device connected, then we'll configure the fabric channel. Or for the external bridge for the L2 switch. And fifth option we are not getting over here, that is the virtual domain for the virtual environment. That option you are not going to get from here. You have to configure from here only. Virtual networking. And as we have, if you have the VMware, then you have to click on the VMware. And if you having the Red Hat KVM or Microsoft Hyper-V, then you have to select from there only. So as our objective is to configure the physical domains, right? What we'll do, just right click, create new physical domain, name physical domain. Again, I'm putting the channel name. Too easy to search, easy to recall next time. Now one thing that is, you can see the options attachable access entity. From here also we can call or create new, right? The beauty of this policy flow or policy architecture in ACI infrastructure, you can start from anywhere you can start, but you will get to call other options or other policies from this option itself, right? So if you're starting from interface policy, you will get multiple options to call other policies. That's a similar way you are getting. You have not created, but you can create your AAP from here. But as I will show you from the proper option, that's what I'm not showing, selecting or creating from here. So what we have configured, we have configured the VLAN pool, right? With the name, first would be the channel name. This is the VLAN pool, right? So security domain is not required, so we are submitting. So the domain is created, right? Physical domain. So yeah, this is the domain, right? This domain is created, and this VLAN pool we have also called from here. Now what left, we have to configure the AAEP, right? Yeah, then create under the policies. Under the policy you will get global options, right? So under the global option you only get this AAP. So click on right click on the AAP, you will get option that create AAP entity profile. So what we are going to put, the name, I am putting the glue. Let me call the domains from here. What was our domain? Yeah, this is our domain we have created. Let me update. Once we update, you can see automatically your VLAN also getting reflect, right? From there we will, what we'll do, just click on next, then click on finish. It's done. How do you see? Click over here. From there only you will get, this is the your AAP where we call your domains, right? You can see. So what we done yet, we have created the AAP VLAN pool and the domains, right? So this first portion what we learned initially, that is completed, right? Now what we'll do, we'll configure the interface policies, right? So how do we configure? We have to configure leaf interface. No, not like this, as it's a global under the common policy for everyone. So go to the policies, then click on interface. Here you will get multiple options. So what we will configure, we will configure the CDP, right? So for the CDP, let me enable. CDP is my favorite, but sometimes it is get vulnerable. Okay, so have to put name on, right? So we are enabling the CDP, right? So what left, another is the CDP is done. So here I have shown you the off, but I am making it on as it's my favorite. and now we are going to configure the link level, right? So CDP is done. Link level, what we'll do, we'll right click again. Earlier it was created. Let me show you link level, what I have created in previous tutorial. That is 10 Gbps, right? As this port is supported 10 Gbps, so I'm going to keep it as it is, right? So link level policy is configured, I would say, because it was earlier configured. If you want to configure phrase, then what you will do, go to the link level, right click, create over there, put something name over here, and you can select the speed, right? So earlier in legacy network, whatever we select select or configure the under the CLI speed, 1000 Mbps or 100 Mbps or 100 Mbps, like this way. So this is a link level. So as it's configured, I'm not calling it again. And then what we'll do, STP I have show you. Where is the STP? Spanning tree, right? Is it created? No, it's not created. Let me create again. Right click spanning tree. It's an interface level STP, right? Interface STP. Right, maybe do gada making enable, right? So the interface policy is configured, right? So what we did, all this policy we have configured, interface level policy. Now what we'll do, we'll configure the interface policy group, where we'll get, as I told you earlier also, where we'll get to map your AAEP. Let's see whether we are getting or not. All right, so interface policy group, right? Interface, leave interface policy group. Let me create new one. Before going to new one, let me show you one important part. That is, once you going to create interface policy group, that time you will get multiple options like access port, PC port, BPC port, other way FCPC port, FC interfaces. So what is leaf access port? Where your interface physical device is going to connect as access port, right? We'll configure is a access port. Only one single device is going to connect. Now if your device is going to connect with the two different cable, right, in that case what we'll do, we'll configure the port channel, right? So if I'm having two different cable, two different connections and the same leaf switch, in that case we'll configure the interface policy group as a PC interface policy group, where we'll bind all the policies. If you configure the BPC, in that case we have to go through the BPC interface policy group. As in our scenario, we have to create the leaf in access port. As it's a single devices, we are going to create new. So it's an interface policy group. Interface policy group. I am putting the name. Right now, as I told you, right? As I told you here, during the creation of the interface policy group, you will get options to call your AAEP configure, which we have configured earlier. So what we have configured, let me call from here. Where are you? Yes, you are here. I'm putting, it was earlier created, avoid it. So yeah, so glue is ready, my glue. Let me call over here. Apart from this other policy you have to call, right? There is multiple policy. So what we have configured, link level, what this is my link level, right? On what else? On, I make it on. Where is on? CDP on, yeah. So on, another thing I have configured, the STP. Let me call that one also. So these three interface policy I have configured. I am going to bind all this policy together in a interface policy group, where I am calling the AAEP, right? Let me submit. Yeah, it is submitted. So access policy interface policy group is configured over here. It is not showing over here because it takes time to populate. Try to ignore. You can see later on also. So what we completed as of now: VLAN pool, domain, AAEP, interface policy. Only three I have show you. Yes, we can list of policies we can create, but as we have time crunch, we are not going to do that. If you require in your scenario, we will create that one also. Now what we did, we bind all this policy together in a policy group. Here it is, right? And during creation we call the AAEP. So this much portion we have done, right? I would say this much portion is done. So it is completed zone. So once you complete one by one, you have to check mark like this way, so it will be easier to understand. Now what we'll do, we'll configure interface profile. Why, right? Like we create our social media profile and office profile, right? Let me go there. Okay, it is still taking time to get it load. Please bear with me some time more, as it's a little slower today. So during interface profile creations, what we'll do, we'll appoint one or select one interface selector, which will help us to call interface policy group, as well as it will help us to call this interface. As we have decided, let me show you. As we have decided, our interface would be 9, right? And the VLAN would be 10. 10 has been configured already. Now this portion is left. So let's go. What we'll do, we'll configure the interface profile, right? Go to the go to the switch, lip switch, or it is lip profile. Ignore, sorry, interface, lip interface. Always we'll talk interface as a lip interface, because we are not going to configure anything in the spine layer, right? Click on create lip profile. So we are going to configure this one, right? Let me select again the interface as well as 1/9. Let me call, yes, now it's come up, right? Interface policy group. Let me select over here. Let me okay, submit, right? So it's been done. So where is the interface profile? Here it is, right? So we have configured the interface profile, right? From where we select the interface itself, and from where we have also call your interface policy group, right? So as of now, this section is fully completed, you can say. Now option is left with the switch level. In switch level, I'm not going to configure switch policy itself. All right, I'm going to configure direct switch policy group, from where I'm going to call the default policies. All right. So policy group, click over here, right click, create policy group, switch policy here, policy group, right? For the spanning tree, I'm select the default. For the VFD, even I'm going to select the default, and I'm not going to create other one. If you require to create switch policies, then you can click over here, create from over here also. You will get create the interface switch policies from here also, right? If you already configure from the option, then select from here. If you not configure, then create new policies from here. Then make it bind together, right? Switch port, switch policy, switch profile, right? Switch policy group. I'm not going LLDP, yeah. So switch profile, switch policy group is configured. Now switch profile, this is done. I will configure the switch profile over here. Let me create the switch profile. Oh, I'm in wrong way, ma'am. It's my miss. It's my bad. Let me click on leaf switch profile. Right click, create a new profile. Switch profile. Here what option we are going to get? The leaf selector. From the leaf selector, what will select? The switch one. Let me select from here. We are going to select leaf one, right? And we are going to call the policy group also. This is our policy group we have created. Let me click on update. Now when we click the next, right, we'll get the option associations, right? The same thing. So during let me clear this part. When we configure this switch profile, we get option leaf selector, from where we call your switch policy group, from where we call your switch also, right? Then another option we are getting association. Association with whom? Association with interface profile, with what we have configured, right? So our interface profile we have configured with the name of the channel name and the interface profile. Then let me click on finish. So it is done. All right, so entire thing is done. How do you check? Go to inventory and then go to the pod, interfaces, physical interfaces, the 9. As we have not connected yet anything, that's what it's showing like this. All right, so this is your interface, from where you can check other part also. VLAN association we did something, but it is not reflecting yet. It will take little time. All right, and apart from this, we can check from here also. All right, so just check from here. Whatever we have configured, whatever policy we have inserted, here it is, right, with the name of, right? So this policy we have configured, the resources is this name. If you click over here, it will show you like this. This is the interface policy group. All right, under the policy group we have called multiple policies, you can see, right? So how do you check? From here you will check that your policy, whatever you have applied, it has been reflected or it has been applied. So we have chosen the interface 9, where we have applied all these policies, right? So this much you have to do likewise. And another part, let me show you. It take more time to go flow by flow to each and every part, because as you are new to the policy, that's what I show you this flow. But yes, if you ask me that is there any shortcut way or any fast way through which we can configure, yes, your that answer is yes. Here is the options for the quick or fast configurations on the interfaces. Like what you have to do, just to click on access policies under that quick start interface. Here you will get top right corner configure interfaces, right? There you have to click. Here you will get the options in a short. You can configure the entire switch interface and switch profile. How do you configure? Just select the leaf. From here you have selected leaf, right? You just select the interface like this, and now automatically the leaf profile name will be created. You can change the name. My leaf profile, and even new name. By default one new name come with my, you can change with my switch interface profile. All right, so you have to just select the interface, as well as you have to select the leaf switch. Then thereafter you will get a few options like individual, PC, virtual port, FC and FC port channel, right? So what is that FC port channel and individual? Individual is nothing but access port. You have to, if you are going to individual access port, then you just select the individual, then select the AAEP, right? We have whatever we have created, right? Then what we'll do, automatically come with CDP on or off. Then it is, so please close, we have to close CDP enabled. Then the link level policy, whatever we have selected, it is come automatically. You can change from here also, right? Under the advanced, you can also change from here, right? If you are selected over there also. Right, then click on next. Under that we'll get a lip selector name, whatever we are manually selecting, it is automatically coming one name. You can modify the name also. Access port selector would be like this, interface selector would be like this, and lip profile name would be like this, and your lip selector would be name would be like this. And then what you will do, click on finish. Right, here I'm getting one error because it is overlapping, already we have configured, that's what it's not taking. So this is how you can configure through using wizard, right? And through using the step by step. So whatever policy you are going to configure, that is going to apply over here, right? Here we have configured this policy, that's what it's showing. So hope it is been informative for you. You can understand all these stuffs, how you configure and how you go step by step, right? Hope it is informative. Thank you, thanks for your time. Hope you enjoyed the sessions.